We are Nigeria Info, and we're reaching you live from Etim Inyang Street, Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. That's where our audio-visual studios is located. And you're welcome to join us on the radio, online, wherever you are. You're most welcome. You can watch us on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can watch. That's right, Nigeria Info 99.3 on Facebook and on YouTube. Let's start with the Vanguard newspaper. Before then, pardon me, I'm Sheriff Quadry.
I'm going to protest. Good morning, I'm Jimi Disu. There's so much to be done this morning.
Okay. Let's start. We've got a Vanguard here. Dangote Petrol, Nigerians to pay 950 naira per litre. NNPCL. In the inside page of the Punch newspaper, it has a similar story here. 950 naira per litre. Dangote Petrol may justify more importation. Marketers.
Thank you very much,
Yes, sir.
I want to be a bit polite this morning, not to use the word scam. I'll be very, very polite, but I think Nigerians have been taken for a complete ride over this fuel, the developments in the fuel sector. Because, okay, so the whole idea of encouraging Dangote to set up a refinery was to bring our petrol price under control. And I don't think that it would have been too much for the government to put in all efforts to make sure that we get PMS and kerosene, especially, at the barest minimum. I would have thought that by simple common sense, what most people are looking forward to is that, okay, if Dangote produces, we own the crude is right in the ground. If the government has an arrangement with Dangote and he produces it right in this premises, no shipping costs, no this cost, that, so on and so forth, then at least we'll be talking of a lower. And actually, I think that in the mind of people, they thought that we'll be going back very close to status quo. That is the impression that we were given. Now, with the flurry of analysts and accountants and whatever, most of them who are pro-government, most likely sponsored, we've been sold a dummy. In fact, it's so bad that the real headline that worried me is that the marketers are even now saying that the 950 per litre Dangote petrol may justify more importation, and that is where the crux lies. Why, for example, would man have a refinery and it would be that he sells only to NNPC? As a third party, why can't he sell directly to marketers? Are we the ones who are going to be punished for the so-called debt that the NNPC has? Are we the ones who are going to be punished and taxed to make up for that money? When we know, all of us know, that there is more than meets the eye in what is going on in the NNPC in the past and probably in the present. And the reasons are very, very clear. The reasons are very, very clear. And it is surprising to those who don't know that the president took up the function of Minister of Petroleum by himself. I think we've all been had by one big grand conspiracy that is going on. All the cues and whatever were to prep us for this 950. Remember, we were about 600 before, 650. Now, people are looking at 950 and are happy. Why are they happy? Because I still bought fuel last week at 1,000 plus. But then you ask yourself, you see, and people, when people make comparisons that in Mexico fuel is sold as this and in the UK is sold at that, without looking at the other factors. You just take it out in isolation without looking at the other factors. I would say that clearly we are headed somewhere that is extremely frightening. And it is no surprise that one heard rumors in the social media of clusters of meetings of concerned persons. I will leave that at that. We heard rumors of meetings of concerned persons. I am so worried about this new development. I don't know how we are going to sustain it. Look at now. It says the pump price in Lagos is 950. The pump price in Abuja is 992. In Borno is 1019. And it says that NNPC completes lifting of 16.5 liters, but depot owner says we have not taken delivery of refined petrol. Consumers should expect 1,200 per liter, and sector requires increased transparencies, says Dapman. This is the story that I said worried me. It says that the price of PMS called petrol produced by Dangote and released by NNPC on Monday may justify the importation of the commodity into Nigeria. That importation for so many people must not stop. It must not stop. You wanted to say something?
No, not at all.
Because you put this one on. You know. And it says that this came. Dealers said that the vessels of imported petrol should start arriving in Nigeria from Tuesday, as they call for transparency in the pricing of the PMS produced by Dangote Refinery. This came as the organized private sector faulted the role of NNPC as the sole off-taker of petrol from the $20 billion Lekki-based refinery. They called for competition in the space, adding that NNPC's role as a sole off-taker will not encourage this. In fact, it increases the price. NNPC leads from Dangote in Lagos here and then now sells to marketers when the marketers can do direct deals with Dangote. I don't understand this. I just wish to move on to the next story so I don't waste too much time on that.
Yes, indeed.
The second story is there.
Yes.
But I thought you wanted to say something.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. No, I wasn't going to. Let's take this story here on page 2 of the Punch paper. Edo governorship poll. Petrol crisis threatens election as APC PDP set for showdown.
I'm going to speak in parables on this one because one has to be very careful. But I think that if you're somebody who thinks deeply, excuses are beginning to appear for what could end up being criticisms of the election. Okay, so what it says is that, the ongoing nationwide fuel crisis has forced INEC to increase its financial commitment to the transport unions that will be involved in Saturday's Edo State governorship election. The adjustment of one of our correspondents was in response to the need to recent surge in fuel prices, which has impacted the operational costs of transport companies. Are we just doing that a week to the election? And they said there was a meeting chaired by the INEC boss that had the electoral body holding discussions with representatives of the 3 major transport unions. Now, all of us know or have a fair idea the masquerade behind the transport unions. I won't say more than that. I hope it doesn't get to a point where the distribution of materials is not skewed in a particular direction to favor somebody. These are the things you need to watch out for in these coming elections that are promised to be quite interesting. Okay? And as part of, I'm meeting some Edo people at 9 o'clock. Yeah, okay. I'm going to meet them. And part of what is going on in Edo is going to be very, very interesting. And it is a litmus test. Already for me, what I saw on television during the campaigns has showed me the direction of where 2027 might go. By the time poverty has hit us so hard, people are attending any rally for money. Let us see if they will vote for any party for money. And let us wait and observe what kind of money is going to be flying around in the Edo elections. Also in the elections, there was the issue of debates. A party that had in the past produced candidates who won without debating is likely to want to do so again. In fact, the candidate of that particular party would not even attend the simple interview, talk less of a debate. And is gaps left, right, and center. And let's see if it would be his own turn, to take the victory. It's mind-boggling. Here you have to be very careful how you say certain things. But I'm sure the little bits and pieces that I'm giving you, put in instead. Not to talk of the distasteful things that have happened during the campaign in Edo State. And Edo State, after Lagos, is the state of concern for me. Edo State have good choices to choose from, but unfortunately in Nigeria, I would say that politics sometimes can be local. And because of the rates of our poverty, and from what we have seen on ground, I think I'd rather just go to bed than have any expectations that, some good might come out of all this. But when is the election? It's not Saturday.
21.
21, that's next week, right? No, this week.
It's this week.
This week, yes, this week. And we'll see how it goes. The governor, in his own wisdom, has refused to sign a peace pact as some form of protest. And I think that history might not be too kind to him for what he has done, because a peace pact is a peace pact. If there are some things that you're not happy with, if you say your people have been arrested and you want them released, or you could easily have gone to court to see if you can get an injunction. But when you, as a leader of the state, say you're not going to sign a peace pact, then I hope that he'll be able to contain what might happen eventually, and he might be held responsible for. It's important that Obaseki should know that his immunity will not last forever. I think we need to think these things out very well before we do that. But the elections will come and go, and Nigeria will continue as usual.
Indeed. Let's go and take the next story on page 28 of the Vanguard newspaper. Amid the great flood, Tinubu visits victims, assures of maximum support from FG.
Yeah, I think it was nice of the president to have visited, but in fact, not nice. It was wise of him to have done so, and I think his presence there would bring some calm. But it's not the visits that matter; it's what happens after the visits. And I hope that the federal government will do whatever it takes with the state government. Apparently, that flood could have been preventable. It was an issue of a bust dam that had been giving signals. Okay, but the president turned up. He urged the Sultan urged the government to publicize prone zones for citizen safety. Bauchi government donates 250 million and feeds 10,000 victims. IGP leads Northeast CP's others to assess destroyed police formations. The story says that President Bola Tinubu yesterday visited victims of the last Tuesday's flood disaster that has killed no fewer than 30 persons, displaced more than 2 million people, and destroyed property worth billions of naira. But we're feeding 10,000 victims. This came as Jamaatul Nasrul Islam, under the leadership of the Sultan of Sokoto, has urged the federal government to publicize flood-prone zones for citizen safety. The president, during the visit, assured that the federal government will provide maximum assistance to Borno and other states affected by flood disaster to cushion their immediate suffering. And like I said, it was nice of him to have visited. I'm sure the people there would be happy that he came, but we're now going to wait and see what exactly he has in store for the people. Like we've been waiting forever, what he has in store for us. But, by the way, there was something that made the rounds that the ministers had been given, particularly some bags of rice for the elderly or some. I saw some funny thing like that. Did you hear of it? Okay, that some ministers were given X number of bags of rice to distribute to the so-called vulnerable. Okay, since you haven't seen it, maybe it was fake news.
Since I haven't seen it.
Since you haven't seen it, yes. I'd rather just not discuss it.
Okay, let's go to the health wise page.
Wait. Next time, when I see things like that, I'll follow what's send it to you. Okay, let's go.
Let's go back to the Punch. Page 20, the health wise page. We've got some really interesting
some very interesting things health wise. Now, listen to this one carefully. It says that save us from fake drugs. Cancer survivors beg federal government because of the price of drugs has ballooned. And I think it's not just cancer survivors. You're going to have a lot of fake hypertensive drugs, a lot of fake paracetamol, a lot of fake malaria medications and so on and so forth. And I think that the government should be up and doing. Whatever happened to duty-free drugs to bring down the price of drugs? We haven't heard anything just yet. There's another story here written by Angela Onwuzo, and it says disinfecting toilet seats before use reduces infection spread. I think that should be well known. Not wiping the seat, disinfecting. So if you're somebody like you go to your, especially for ladies, you go to your office and whatever, I think there's some antiseptic wipes that you can use to make sure that you clean the toilet bowl before you sit on it. And it raises concerns here. There's another story here. Pharmacists, others want patients evaluated for malnutrition. Well, the issue of malnutrition is no longer a sickness in Nigeria. It's a condition.
It's a reality.
It's
an everyday reality.
Even me, you can see that.
No.
I'm not healthy.
You are eating well.
No, I was.
There's nothing like
I was at a reception for Sir Funshobrito. I used the opportunity to congratulate him. And somebody said that, Jimmy, you seem to be putting on with. I know you salad. I think it was Uncle Steve Omoja for that said that, Jimmy. Would have been put to me? I said, yes, sir. I'm eating well. I'm eating pop and dudu and everything. I can eat salads and whatever. But it was a very nice gathering in Mr. Inka Lakija's house, for my good Egbon, who is now Sir Funshobrito. Yes, it's a paper night. Okay, so this talks about scientists urge universities to adopt reverse vaccinology. I don't know about this one. This one's a technical thing. This is very, very interesting for those of you who have babies. Very, very interesting. And for somebody like me too, who have a baby now.
Yes, you do.
Have a baby, so
yes.
Babies covered with blankets while asleep risk suffocation. Pediatricians warn. Let me read that again. Babies covered with blankets. Usually we cover babies with blankets and move on. Sometimes the baby is, trying to struggle could. So what it is that you cover, you sound so interested. I mean, is there a stripper?
No stripper.
Okay. With blankets. Well, so you keep an eye on your child, okay? In fact, that's why I remember about 20-25 years ago when the issue of cot deaths were occurring, and then it turned out none of my kids slept in the cot. Wow. Oh yes, they would always sleep by the mom, or sometimes shifted to me by the pup. So we all need to be careful. Let's keep an eye out for our babies. And it's called, let me tell you, pediatricians have warned that covering babies with blankets increases the risk of sudden infant death syndrome, a tragic phenomenon where a healthy infant dies unexpectedly. The specialists also warned that obstructing a baby's airways with pillows, toys, shawls, Bibles, and things like that, or other materials could be fatal within 4 minutes. Some people like putting Bible in the cot and things like that. Keep the cot free, for God's sake, and let the baby breathe.
Let the baby breathe.
You sounded so interested. Okay, that's good.
See, I was waiting for you to land.
No, you sounded when I mentioned the issue of babies. We got so concentrated that.
So the funny thing is, I only just had this conversation, I think, last weekend. Oh,
really?
Yes, about a video I had seen of a baby wrapped up in duvet.
Yeah.
And the baby was struggling to get out of the duvet, but then the more the baby struggled, the more the baby got wrapped up inside the duvet and everything. Thank God that the dad rushed in and had to now rescue the baby.
Great minds think alike. I thought I aligned.
Yeah.
I was wondering why you look so interested. I thought that like with 3 bullets, but that's gone. I don't know.
I don't understand what you're saying. Let's go to the editorial of the Punch newspaper. Debates deepen democracy.
Yes, the Punch puts up a very nice argument in the editorial today about the issue of debates. And don't bother. We can't. I'm sure we can't put it in electoral rules that will force people to debate, because the people who are supposed to put those rules in would rather not debate, they'd rather not expose what they had. But I don't think debates really matter. I think, for example, Nigerians saw enough that they could have seen at debates and still made their decision. I don't think debates would have mattered in a situation where even at an international forum, you can always say that, oh, it's a collective, and you can then direct people, Sheriff, you say something, you say something. But they say that politicians view debates with disdain, the same way they view the people they lead. Did you hear that? From Le Pont, politicians view debates with disdain, the same way they view the people they lead. Sadly, the no-show candidate always wins.
Sadly.
I put the word sadly there. And they talked about how Buhari shunned debates, denying Nigerians an opportunity to assess its sustainability, its suitability. And says this makes it difficult for the electorate to gauge their leader's sagacity. There's no leader sagacity in all this. Politics in Nigeria is grab and run away with it. We know that. President Bola Tinubu also refused to present himself for debate. Like Buhari, it took long to form his cabinet. Neither man offered any apology because they felt they did no wrong or that the people could do nothing about it. This is impunity. And it says that amid the anguish unleashed on the people by his policies, it has been argued that Tinubu owes the people nothing because he promised them nothing. And it was simply his turn to be president. The people cannot hold him to any ideology or philosophy. This is a mockery of democracy. It argued that Nigerian politicians free from debates because they are empty and only focus on winning elections, not good governance. But the point now reminds us, in contrast to the televised debate between MK Abiola and Bashiru Tofa. It swung, whatever. So then the point says that it creates other worries, though. It is becoming clear that Nigerians are losing interest in democracy. That is likely to happen. That's what happens in Edo this Saturday. And so what can be done? Politicians should mend their crooked ways. Civil society organizations should spare no effort in educating and sensitizing the people on the need for debates. The electorate should change the game by voting rightly after assessing candidates based on debate outcomes. This electorate that we are going to have, if care is not taken, we'll be looking at the color of the currency that you have and how many pieces are in the word that you want to give them. So the way I think it's going to work is politics is going to be determined for a very long time by money.
By money, right?
What was that?
I'm sorry. It was something tripping.
I was frightened.
Sorry.
I thought, am I bleeding anyway?
Yeah.
I thought somebody had taken a shot.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Let's begin to wrap up. What's coming up at 9?
Well, I'm talking to some Edo indigenes. We just want to talk. I'm an Edo indigene by implication. I've lived there, went to school there, and so on. We just want to have a look at what's going on. I'll be talking to Osa and I'll be talking to Libros.
Okay.
Some of the other Edo citizens I would have brought have one excuse or the other to give. But those two, luckily, are known to people, just to look at what's likely to happen.
Okay.
But who do you think might swing the election?
Sadly, let me borrow your word. I don't know.
Sadly, I think that the artful dodger is the one that might become governor.
Who is Afro Dodger?
Artful dodger.
Oh, Artful Dodger. Okay. I thought I heard Afro Dodger.
No, it's the artful dodger.
Okay. All right. Let's see how that pans out. But I'm not going to mention anything. But we'll wait till 9. Let's see if your guest can say that out loud.
Well, we'll see.
Kofi Bartels is next on the Morning Crossfire Lagos. Thank you for tuning in. Stay here, please. Stay here.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info.